In this lesson, we're going to begin to discuss the stacking order of objects and the Layers panel. If you'd like to follow along, go into the File menu to Open and select 0311-0312 Stacking Order, and then hold down your Command key on a Mac, Control key on a PC, and click on the next file, and just click Open. To begin, let's go to our Rectangle tool. If you can't find it, just hit your M key. I'm going to go over the top of my stacked rectangles in the middle of the page, and just click and drag, and let go. Anytime you draw a new object in InDesign, it's always in front. What if I didn't want it in front? I would have to go under the Object menu to Arrange, Send Backward. That sends it one level down in the stacking order. Let me do that again. Object, Arrange, Send Backward. Now it's two levels down in the stacking order from where it started. Let me send it all the way to the back. Object, Arrange, Send to Back. Now let me bring it all the way to the front. Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. Imagine working on a very complex layout, and you're working on a particular page or spread, and there's lots and lots of objects that are all stacked on top of each other, and having to arrange the stacking order by going to Object, Arrange. That would make it very difficult working on your layout. To make it easier, there's the Layers panel. Let me go to my Selection tool. Before we go any further, I just wanted to point out, if you want your panels to look exactly like mine, make sure to choose the Typography workspace from under your Workspace pop-up. If you go to your Layers panel, you'll see that there's one layer anytime you open a brand new document, but you can add additional layers. Well, what exactly are layers? Imagine you have a cardboard box, and you start stacking objects in your cardboard box. Let me hit the little disclosure arrow next to layer 1, and you'll see there's a lot of objects in there. In recent versions of InDesign, you can see each and every object in a layer just by clicking that little disclosure arrow. This is a lot more like Adobe Illustrator, and it offers a tremendous amount of control over the stacking order of objects. Let me close that little disclosure arrow just by clicking on it again. And I'm going to create another layer just by clicking the New Layer button at the bottom of the panel. Let's get back to our cardboard boxes. Imagine this bottom layer is a cardboard box, and I have a bunch of similar objects stacked in it. To give me more control, creating a new layer or cardboard box to stack additional objects in will give me a lot more control. So there's a stacking order within each layer. There's also a stacking order of my layers themselves, or my cardboard boxes. It makes it much easier to have a lot more control over your objects. How do I get this control? Well, let me show you. You can see that each one of my objects has a visibility eye next to it. If I click on that eye, watch what happens to my top rectangle. You can't see it. It's still there, but you can't see or select it. Let me hit my visibility eye again, and I can do that to any one of these objects. You can see they go away when I click the visibility eye. I can also lock objects. There's this empty lock box right next to the visibility eye. If I click in that lockbox, it actually locks that top object. I can lock any one of the objects just by clicking on that empty lockbox next to the object listing. Let me unlock my top rectangle, and now click and drag with my selection tool across all of the objects. Well, you can see all of the objects are getting selected. I can tell that because there's a little selection square that's highlighted next to that particular object. if any objects are selected within a layer, you'll see that there's a selection square next to that layer as well. Everything got selected except for my locked rectangle. So this makes it easier to choose what gets selected and what doesn't. Because the rectangle is locked, you can see a little lock icon to the upper left of my background rectangle. I can actually unlock that object just by clicking on that icon, and it also will select it. Objects in my Layers panel are named by the Layers panel itself. You can see that I have a lot of rectangles stacked on top of each other, then some type. It is actually naming the text frame according to the type that is in the beginning of the text in that frame. If I wanted, I could change the names of any of these objects just by clicking on the listing and then clicking again on the name. And I can type anything I want, and that's the new name of the object. We're going to continue talking about the stacking order of objects and the great control over those objects that the Layers panel offers in the next lesson.